Hello guys, this is Avcoor and I want to talk about the new PvP tier list as things have dramatically changed a lot. Um, it's kind of shocking that they would shift the meta so violently, but it all started with one character and we'll get to that character later. But let's start with the characters that won't get banned, that you still can use. And I want to stress the fact that with the new ban pick that they applied to this game, that characters have value for the simple fact that they simply won't get banned, and you have an opportunity to build a team around that. Whereas certain characters are definitely going to get banned because they're just too powerful in order to ignore. And we look at Atum. Atum has gotten better and yet still has remained lackluster. There's a character that does his job better, but the simple fact is that if you combine the two, you get some powerful red AoE. And if you see Sigheart there, Sigheart is a warrior, and you'll notice that there's a lot of warriors in PvP as warrior is establishing itself as the strongest class in the game. So Sigheart is pretty mediocre in the fact that he is limited in what he can do, but what he does well, and that is DPS, single target. He has AoE potential, but that's not something that, excuse me, you will put into practice unless you're really a big brain. Lena is good for the simple fact that she can attack and move away. And that will always be good in PvP as positioning is important. And she carries a team leadership skill, as does I forgot her name. I forgot this character's name. I remember it and then I forget it. Let's go to the game. Oh, Nola. Nola actually carries her own leadership skill, and she has a ranged attack, which makes her mediocre but still usable. So Peacock has gotten better for the simple fact is there's other characters that do what she does way better, but she's still a warrior. She's still a dark unit, but as a dark unit, she will suffer because of certain characters. But she's still usable. Capet is usable in Rush, and she's a warrior, but she is limited in what she can do, and people can pretty much anticipate what you're going to do with her because there's only two things she does really well. She does Rush and single target, and if you're not like implementing her on the first or second turn, she kind of uses her flare. So keep that in mind. This is the won't get banned list of characters. So we slowly move ourselves up and we go to T3. T3 is kind of shocking as the characters that appear here usually didn't appear in the earlier ban list. But let's talk about Kirby or Kabir. Tanks are simply important as in the world of Cole, in the world of Charlotte, in the world of single target warriors. Good tank is hard to find, and Kabir can fill in that role for you. As you can see, that even in the won't get banned, you got like four warriors. You got three warriors. Warriors typically deal physical attack damage, and Kabir is good at soaking up those attacks. He's still limited, but the ability to destat single target units is really good. We value Michael for her mobility as she moves really far. The fact that now she's one step behind Seminar shows the way the meta has shifted as light characters have become more potent because of a certain someone that we'll talk about later. So the reason why you'll want to use her is for the team leadership skill alone as she benefits from that and it makes for flexible team building. Seminar is still good, but she's not as good as once was. She's still a single target monster, but the tanks have gotten better. And if she's not going against catch, which catch is pretty hard for her to one shot nowadays because catches are built better. So she has to hit catch, she has to hit arena, she has to hit Gabriel. So it becomes harder for her to do her job, but she still could do it. Light is the newest addition. But I knew on some level she was going to fall off as opposed to the other character, because that's always the way it seems. There's always one really good character that Langresser makes, and then they make the other character kind of mediocre. That wasn't the same for Hazel and Arena, but wizards in general have a hard time competing unless your name is Catherine because your HP is too low, and AoE will kill you. So we move on to Zivelnev. Zivelnev has always been relevant in PvP, but not like game breaking. She's still a DPS monster. Still can do single target AoE, but Dark is weaker than it used to be because of the emergence of light characters. And so we enter into Marguerite. Marguerite has gotten better because the light faction itself has gotten better, but still she is limited. I would say that Marguerite is good in certain teams, but not in all teams. So T2 will surprise you as Catherine is no longer the queen bee. Let's start with Alicia. Alicia is still good, but when Catherine went down, so did Alicia, and Alicia was going down anyway because of Electo. Electo pretty much reduced her importance as her AoE pressure was just too strong, and it's hard for her to keep up with the heals when you have characters like Electo running around. So when you look at what is her name, Sasha? Well, everybody calls her Fireball. Fireball is still powerful, and at times, if not prepared for, she can wreck teams. It's just that there's other characters right now she's competing with, and it's kind of hard to say that she's the best when there's just better around. But never underestimate the power of this character. If the band pit goes really well, she becomes extremely potent. Clarice has simply gotten better because rogues or ranger classes can pick off wayward units, and she is good in rush strategies. And single target has overall become a little more desirable. Excuse me, as AOE is being countered by a certain unit we'll talk about at the end. So look for Clarice to be a safe investment. When we start global, just keep that in mind that don't trash Clarice because she actually does get a little bit better. Erica is still a really good single target unit, though Cole exists and Cole does her job better. Excuse me. What I will say is that because light teams have gotten stronger, she's gotten stronger, and so she's moved up her rank. So her value has increased. Ivan Natar has gotten a lot better because AoE has gotten better with certain characters named Electo. So your goal with him is to be part of a three-pronged strategy where you hit, another character hits, and then you get follow-up, and then you actually see some value out of him. He's not meant to attack and run away. He's meant to AoE bomb, and that's how you need to use him. Catherine is still good, but the new meta has shifted, and Light has gotten so crazy that it's hard for her to survive. Her survivability has gone down. I would say that the problem with this character is her survivability has gone down. It's not the fact that she's not effective because fixed damage is still king. And she's still T2. She could blow away teams. It's just the fact that the light meta has come into full effect and that really hurts her presence. So she's not bad. She's kind of like Sasha where if the band pit goes well, her potential goes up. So don't don't worry about this. She's still good. All right, I'm gonna do this real slow. All right, so that's good enough. So T1 is like the new top tier, and we start with Susie and Susan. Susie and Susan got better because Irina actually solidifies the dark faction, as she's a strong dark tank that can carry dark units. And sometimes you don't want Arena's faction buff. You actually want Susie and Susan's faction buff because it actually allows you to be more flexible in team building because you only need 3 dark units to get the effect off. So Catherine, Arena, and Susan, and you got your dark core there. Not so much as for PvE, but for PvP. Even if you get her or Kabir or Zelvaneth, you still can get her faction buff going. And she's also good because she does debuffs, and are important. In fact, sometimes in order to counter the T0, you want to overwhelm the opponent with debuffs, and she's good in AoE strategies. So Susan's had gotten better. I knew they would because Dark Faction will get better. I think these 3 characters, will make Dark Faction last a long time, so I'm not worried about it. Arena was top dog for like a minute, but then the light meta came in and she's been reduced to T1, and that's not bad. Her standing in T1 is not bad. It's just that light has gotten better. It's just got better, and that hurt her a little bit. But with certain characters, she still makes it. Yig has gotten a lot better because mobility has become more and more important. When we looked at this character, she fell off, and then we was like, she's not going to be great. But then with the shift in the meta, like her ability to make certain characters more mobile makes her actually a very dangerous support unit, and she's a great offensive attacker, more single target, and her AoE is really good because she can do movement shenanigans. So we're seeing a shift like where characters that were once bad are good, and characters that are once good are now like not as good, and that's a pretty good thing for the meta. This guy is weird because we bash Jin, we exalt Jin, we bash Jin, but we all knew that he was actually a PvP unit. We knew that Jin's calling was PvP. It was always there. And the fact that the meta shifted where mobility and range matters, the flexibility that Jin offers to the ban pick is really amazing as he carries his own faction buff. Notice that all these characters in T1 are buffers, are team leaders, as you can build teams around these characters. These characters down here are characters that fill in the holes. These characters are the foundation of a team. These characters up here are going to get ban picked. More than likely, you're going to get rid of these characters. But these characters are characters that have a chance of making it through, and you kind of want more or less all of T1. You might not get all of T0, but you want all of T1. So that's that. And you notice that Catch isn't here anymore, and that's because of Irina and Yig, and to some extent Jen, because I think no. Catch is up there. Catch is up there. Wait a minute. I take that back. I think Catch is up there. I remember Catch being up there. There's no way Catch is not up there. She's up there. I think she's like one of the top units. Anyways, let's go to Gabriel. Gabriel is simply better because she has a team leader that can buff her, and she's a really good tank, but she is part of the light core that's being built. So you have her as a tank, you have her as an archer, you have her as a wizard, and you have her as an assassin. So you see that the light core is forming, and it's going to be here for a long time. Richard will always be good in PvP because he can stun. Richard, I don't know if Richard's ever going to go out. I think he's always going to be invoked, if that means anything. I think this character is so good that I'm sad that I did not build him. Richard is good for a couple of reasons. Richard survives the meta as he is a character that can do a lot of different things. He can tank, he can DPS, he can move, he can position, and he has damage resistance in his kit. There's just so much that Richard's doing for the team that it's gonna be hard to see him go out unless they like really pump up the fire characters, and they have done that, and yet Richard still stands. So when you look at Richard, when you look at, let me see who else, Erica and Catherine, and Erica, I think these, and Sasha, I think these are long-term investments for your account, as even now in this meta with shit that like drastically, they're still relevant. All right, so let's go up. Okay, I thought so. I was gonna say. I knew, yeah, Catch. Catch is one of the better tanks in the game. I was gonna say it because I thought, yeah, Catch is one of the better tanks in the game because Water Faction is always gonna be good for PvP for some reason. This is the only reason why we even see Lena here because of these three characters. And the thing about Catch is she has the highest physical defense in the game. There's not too many characters that exist that can match her in physical DPS. And some of the best units right now, as you can see, are physical DPS. So Catch successfully tanks them really well. And she limits movement, which is part of the new meta. This character will always be meta relevant, Clefairy. There's nothing much more to say about her. Act again, heals, on top of heals, and purification. Even if like characters will go down and up, I think she remains T1 forever. Excuse me. Cole is a surprising character. At first, I thought he would not be as good, but I knew stat-wise that he was amazing. I said that in the video. But when people got a hold of him, they realized his true potential. His dog is hard to kill, and even more important, that's the extra unit on the field. So it gives you turn control, as you have one extra turn always over your opponent to do stuff, and your opponent will always have to kill Cole's dog. They will always have to deal with it because you'll always put that creature in more riskier spots, which allows for more aggressive plays. Charlotte will always be top tier, unlike her counterpart, which I think is from Landgresser, um, like Corette. She will always be meta relevant because she gets to act again, and she even got her own leadership skill. So you notice, like in T.5 to T1, most of these guys are leaders because in band pick you're trying to build a team, and team leadership skills are important because you need every stat point. The fact that they even gave her this made her, who is already good, super good, and I just think we're just gonna see her for a long time. So along with her, him, her, and Clarice and Sasha, you're looking at characters that are long-term investments. That when we start global, we should look to pick these characters up and build them. And of course, we need to look to build her as she comes. Her banner is the first banner to drop, so these characters are super important. The fact that they're still meta relevant. So keep that in mind as we like move forward to global. That these characters are must-haves because if you get them and build them, you're pretty much going to be set for the next year almost. So let's move all the way up. And now we look at the defining characters of the meta. Notice that two of them are healers. Notice that like three of the top eight characters are healers. Three of them are healers. Only one's a tank, and the rest of the three are warriors. So we're in a warrior meta, warrior healer meta. Rogues have been like dropped down. They're only valued for their mobility and what other skills they bring to the table. We only have like one archer in the top eight. Yeah, and no wizards because wizards are squishy. And the only wizard we have is a dark wizard. The top two wizards are dark wizards, so take it for what you will. Hazel is the up and comer. She's good because she does a lot of things. She buffs, she heals, she protects, and she increases crit rate. She's pretty much a must-have because she's so agile and she manipulates the board so well because she has heals that can actually pull your characters together. It's kind of insane what they did with this character, but the fact that Clefairy has been toppled in PvP by two healers is amazing. Valak got better with time. Valak is a character that I'll talk about in a separate video when it comes to Auto Arena. If you see this character in Auto Arena and you're going up against her in Auto Arena, you're pretty much dead. Because what she offers is massive utility, massive regeneration, and she can punish you for hitting your opponent. So when you auto battle, your team is running into an attack because basically what they do is they only give her one skill, like two skills, and one of them is her like rage skill where she heals everybody and she puts the field up, and then when you attack them, they get healed and they deal damage to you, and that breaks strategies. And this also breaks strategies in PvP. I would say it her as far as healers go, she's doing way more than other healers can do. I don't think she's the best healer in the game for PvE content. I still think this goes to Clefairy. I think Clefairy is the best healer in PvE content. I think Hazel, actually, I think Hazel and Alicia tie for PvE content because yet still she actually blocks non-heal debuffs, which still makes her relevant. It's just that she's just doing so much more. And Valak is just amazing in PvP because she actually does damage and heals at the same time. A really great unit, and she's probably going to get banned. Electo is one of those characters that was just it was just lolly love, I think, because she is still so busted, and the fact that she's moved up to T0 is proof of that, because she really just controls the board. Like if you move inside her aura, you take damage. She burns the ground, you take damage. She does fix damage, you take damage. She's this combination, these two units actually get rid of a lot of team comps. That's why you'll never see them play together. But Electo even comes with a leadership skill. So when you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're looking at leadership skills because you're trying to build a team in the band pick. So leadership skills are preferred. And for some reason, zlonggames decide to give leadership skills to the strongest units, unlike in Landgressor. Like the characters in Landgressor don't have, like the faction buffers aren't the best units, but in this game, the leaders typically are the best units, and Electo follows that trend. She's not a great warrior in PvE content. She is totally geared towards PvP content, and she excels here, and she is the master of her domain. That's why you see these water characters getting time, because they have to have answers to Electos. She survived the ban pick. They have to have answers to those characters, and that's why you see like few greens that high, like Richard's. Richard's like, oh yeah, she's actually a wizard too, but Richard's not that high because of this character. Richard would be higher, I think. So we're looking at the character who defines the meta right now. This massive shift has been created by one character, and that's Lancelot. Lancelot pretty much rearranged the meta because she's a light warrior, and the thing about a light warrior is she has no weakness. So wherever she hits into is for neutral damage, never effective damage, but her attack mods are so high that it allows her to deal damage in a way that threatens even the best of tanks. And she counters the AoE because once you hit her with an AoE, she is able to heal herself and her party and remove a debuff. So it's kind of like what Jugular did for Landgressor, albeit a little weaker. But in this game, there's not a Jugular. So we're looking at a character based on the performance matrices of Jugular. We're looking at a character that's going to be here for at least the next 8 or 9 months of PvP. Even if she goes down to T1 or T2, she's still going to be meta relevant. And she comes with her own leadership skill, which makes light better. So you need two light characters. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3. So light has simply gotten better because Lancelot actually has a workable buff for them. Another thing about Lancelot, she has strong AoE and single target, so she's very versatile. She's a lot like Charlotte, and what she can do is just that she's doing it better. And we're gonna look at what the guy who made this set. Okay, the third phase of band pick nights competition, band pick rate tier list. The new characters make the environment change too quickly, so urgent update is required. Generally speaking, the appearance of Lancelot alone and her formation have increased the presence of all light elements. The patches of Gemini Spur and Little Black Dragon allow the three to have more opportunities to play and perform well. So they're talking about the buffs that these guys are given. She was given a buff. Zelnaf was given a buff. And I forgot who Spur was. So all those are given a buff. So that's why they're more meta relevant. When they talk about Lancelot, the current version has no natural enemies at all. She's way too strong. So basically, she soaks up the first ban. That you just have to ban her because she's so strong. Because she has no weaknesses, and she's a DPS with no weaknesses. When you look at other DPSs that they've created in the light tier, the best light character has been Clefairy, then it's been Gabriel, so you have a light tank cop. But there's like haven't been really strong DPSs. She's been really good. She's been all right. But now we actually have a light DPS that is really strong. So there are no natural enemies. There's nobody that checks her power. So she's kind of, they say she's kind of running around rampant. I haven't seen enough videos of her, but from what I've seen from the battles I've been in, she's really fast. They give her 4 move already with equipment, and then because of her unique talent, she gets 5 moves. So she's in your face before you know it. And she actually has an act again where she does one attack and she attacks again. It's very hard to deal with her. Yeah, so she really is just busted. Fire Dragon still fits because of the bad position of the light character. The playing rate of Fire Dragon has increased slightly. Because you ban her, she comes in and she wrecks stuff. Fire Milk, which means Fire Healer, is still the king of single point play. Even the opposing light team is formed, can Fire Milk still struggle? She still is a threat to the light comp that's being formed. This is Lanai. Still a card, her nimble body can keep those hard wounded Yin Yang Mei at bay. She's able to pull and manipulate space, which is always good. So I actually have to talk to this guy because we were supposed to chat, and I'm sorry about that. So I've got to talk to him to really understand how everything is working. But anyways, if you like my content, hit the like, share, subscribe button. I'll get back to you. Have a great day, and goodbye.